All right, and welcome back to the broadcast. Constitutional lawyer Kibe Mungai is with me as we unpack the landmark ruling as to the impeachment process, and that is at the level of the courts of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Wakili, that this could be a matter that gives reprieve to the former Deputy Premier or the former Deputy President, but then the question would be, what does it mean for the people of Kenya? First of all, in relation to the institutions that have been set to deliver justice for us. And second of all, knowing that we have a deputy president who, a majority of lawyers would argue, or perhaps what the Constitution dictates would argue, is not rightfully the deputy president of the day. Hence my question, status quo ante, or what kind of picture does it paint? Or where do we go back until we wait for the CJ to perhaps constitute or impanel another three-judge bench?
I think the most important issue to remember is that as far as the parliamentary process is concerned, the Senate of the Republic of Kenya did pass an impeachment motion against the Deputy President Gachagua. Now, that impeachment, all that happened is that it was stayed in the order given in Nairobi. To stay that one means that no further step needed to be taken after the stay, so that the processing in Parliament should not have taken place in view of the stay. Now, number two is that the order now that came from the Kerugoya High Court was, you cannot swear the Deputy President.
Yes.
So the effect of those two orders is that as long as those orders were there, you could not be able to swear Honorable Kindiki and for him to assume office. Now, the effect, when that matter was finally argued, after now the dismissal of the objections to the appointment of those three judges by the Deputy Chief Justice Honorable Muilu, is that they vacated those orders, they set them aside, and said that no conservatory orders would be given. That is what allowed the Deputy President Kindiki now to be sworn into office. Now, the effect now of the Friday decision is that you say those three cases, and that is where there were orders, were unlawfully heard by those three judges. What it means in very simple English is, it takes you to the position where the Rigathi Gachagua has been impeached, but you cannot proceed with the swearing in of Mheshimiwa Kindiki. So that the scenario therefore would be, there would be an elected Deputy President of Kenya who stands impeached, but who is before the High Court, praying like the governors have done previously, that protect me and we hear my case to be heard, to see whether or not the decision of the Senate is going to be set aside. But as it were right now is, Kindiki was sworn in. Yes. So de facto, and he has been the Deputy President of Kenya. So that as a matter of fact, he's holding that office. But now the big question now would be this: from the standpoint of the law, he is in office pursuant to orders that were made by a High Court bench sitting without authority. So that effectively, and that's why the question of legitimacy arises. Just like marriage, when they say the kid is illegitimate, or that it means probably your father and the father and mother were not lawfully married. That's what it means. So even in this case, the illegitimacy of Kindiki is the same. That the law is not on his side. He is sitting there under the pleasure of Honorable Ruto, the President of Kenya, that he gave him the office, an office that is reserved by the Constitution, by a person who is elected. Now, how that plays out in court is going to be interesting. And that decision is yet to be made. Because when we go and to decide the case after the appointment of the 14-member judge would be Do we go after Kindiki for him to cease holding office?
Okay.
Or we let him continue being the de facto without legitimacy?
Okay.
Whichever way now, our political decisions would have to be made. If Ruto prefers, as it were, the president prefers a deputy president acting legitimacy, politically it may be good.
But legally.
Legally.
And for the people of Kenya.
So the decision is not for the lawyers.
Okay.
The decision would be for the clients.
All right.
But if I have to be asked is, the position of deputy president of Kenya should be held by a person entitled politically to hold that office, number one.
Okay.
And number two, law constitutionally holding that office, either in accordance with the election or if it is a result of an impeachment as a result of a concluded impeachment process. And the impeachment process, like you have seen with governors, this does not conclude, strictly speaking, until the High Court has confirmed, was it done properly or not? Okay. And the big question of justice for the people of Kenya would be this. If governors, almost invariably all of them, and we've had very many impeachments, the courts have always taken the position, it is not right to fill this position until before at least the High Court has confirmed, was it done rightfully or wrongly? Okay. How the second most important office in Kenya can be filled like a matter of public emergency
is one thing.
It was a big shame and a big indictment of our constitutional democracy.